Imagine waking up to a world where summer simply stopped happening. For thousands of years, the temperature has been dropping, and right now, a massive wall of ice, thousands of feet thick, is slowly crushing everything in its path, moving across continents. The forests you knew are gone, replaced by a brutal, freezing desert of endless snow, fierce blizzards, and winds strong enough to knock you down. To make matters worse, you share this frozen nightmare with giant beasts, woolly mammoths, massive woolly rhinos, and saber-toothed cats with knives for teeth. And you don't have a fur coat. You don't have sharp claws. You don't even have central heating, thermal underwear, or a solid house. You are just a small, naked primate trapped in Earth's coldest, most brutal nightmare. By all laws of nature, our species should have gone extinct right then. During the last glacial maximum, around 20,000 years ago, the planet became so hostile that human populations plummeted. Entire branches of our evolutionary tree simply froze to death or starved in the dark. Yet, against all odds, humans didn't just survive the Ice Age. We conquered it. And the way our ancestors did it changes everything we think we know about human cleverness. To understand the sheer scale of this achievement, we have to look at the biggest problem our ancestors faced: energy. In a freezing climate, your body burns through calories at a terrifying speed just to keep your core temperature from dropping. But in a world covered in ice, plants don't grow. There are no berry bushes to forage, no roots to dig up, and no fruits to pick. If you wanted to survive, you had to become a pure predator. You had to hunt the only things that could thrive in the cold, the megafauna. But hunting a woolly mammoth isn't like hunting a deer. A single mammoth weighed over 6 tons, possessed skin as thick as armor, and carried tusks capable of tossing a human like a rag doll. If you tried to fight one face-to-face with a simple wooden spear, you were choosing a very fast death. So, humans didn't fight with muscle. They fought with gravity and physics. Archaeologists have found evidence that ancient hunting bands didn't just ambush these giants, they used the landscape against them. They would drive a massive mammoth toward hidden pits, dug deep into the frozen mud, or trap them in narrow, rocky canyons where the beast couldn't turn around. Once the giant was stuck, the entire tribe would move in. A single successful mammoth hunt didn't just mean dinner for a night. It meant survival for an entire winter. But killing the beast was only the first step. The real genius of the Ice Age humans was how they used every single molecule of that animal to cheat death. When you live in a treeless tundra, you have no wood to build a shelter and no logs to start a fire. So, humans built houses out of bones. In places across modern-day Ukraine and Russia, researchers have discovered incredible prehistoric structures made entirely from mammoth skeletons. The foundations were lined with massive mammoth skulls to block the freezing wind. The walls were constructed by interlocking hundreds of jawbones and ribs like a giant, ancient puzzle. The roof was covered in heavy mammoth hides to trap the heat inside. In the center of these bone huts, humans started fires not with wood, but by burning mammoth fat and bone marrow, which burned slow and hot, keeping the shelter warm while a blizzard raged outside. With food and shelter solved, humans still faced another silent killer, the wind. At -40 degrees, exposed skin freezes in minutes. Frostbite turns fingers and toes black, leading to infection and death. To survive, humans had to invent the world's first high-tech clothing. Before the Ice Age, clothes were just loose animal skins draped over the shoulders. That works in a warm savanna, but in a blizzard, the cold wind slips right through the gaps. To fix this, humans invented a tool that changed history forever: the eyed needle. By carving tiny, precise needles out of bird bones and mammoth tusks, humans could suddenly sew pieces of fur tightly together. They invented the concept of layering. They used soft fox fur on the inside for insulation, heavy reindeer hide on the outside to repel water and wind, and made form-fitting boots and gloves. For the first time in evolutionary history, an animal had created an artificial secondary skin. We didn't wait for evolution to give us thick fur over millions of years. We stole it from the animals we hunted and walked right out into the freezing storm. But there is a dark side to this story. Surviving the Ice Age wasn't just about fighting the cold, it was about fighting loneliness and isolation. When the world is frozen, human tribes had to scatter across immense distances just to find enough food to stay alive. You might go months or even years without seeing another human soul outside your tiny family group of 20 people. If your group got sick, or if the hunts failed, you were completely on your own. This extreme isolation forced humans to develop a complex social network across thousands of miles. Archaeologists have found beautiful, identical art pieces, like the famous Venus figurines, scattered all the way from France to Siberia. These tribes weren't connected by roads or phones, but they shared the same culture, the same beliefs, and the same symbols. When times got desperate, these shared symbols allowed complete strangers from different valleys to trust each other, trade resources, share hunting grounds, and survive together rather than fighting over the last scrap of food. We often look back at prehistoric humans as primitive, brutal cavemen who barely understood the world around them. But the people who walked through the Ice Age were exactly like us. They had the same brains, the same capacity for fear, love, and creativity. They sat inside huts made of bones, listening to the roaring wind outside, keeping their children warm with custom-sewn jackets, and sharing stories by the light of a burning bone-fat fire. The ice didn't break us. It forced us to become the ultimate problem solvers. It forced us to innovate, to cooperate on a global scale, and to create technologies that eventually allowed us to walk out of the caves and build the modern world we live in today. The only reason you are sitting in a warm room right now, looking at a screen, is because 20,000 years ago, against all odds, a small group of naked primates refused to freeze.